Welcome back, fight fans. We're back. We're going to be talking about UFC Vegas 57. That was last week. And then, of course, we'll be talking about, in my opinion, the biggest card of the year so far, UFC 276. Oh my God. I actually cannot wait. Seriously, every single fight on the card I'm looking forward to. I am so excited. And of course, we'll also throw in season 30 of The Ultimate Fighter. Of course, the new episode was yesterday, so we're going to talk a little bit about that too. So we'll open up with UFC Vegas 57, starting off with the prelims, and that opened up with the ladies, Vanessa Demopoulos and Jin Yu Fry. A little bit of a weird, maybe split decision, but we just expect that at this point. The difference in striking pretty clear early with Fry using her reach advantage and those kind of skills to her advantage. Really piecing Demopoulos up and walking her down, even though she was getting pressured pretty heavily and getting hit with some pretty crisp combos there. Demopoulos was still doing fairly well there, even opened up a cut on Jinyu Fry's ear there. And with a minute left, she finally landed the takedown. That's what she was looking for the whole time, of course. Sadly, for her at least, Fry got up with not much damage there. It was pretty close, but all that work from Jinyu Fry seemed pretty clear that she won the first round. To me, that's all I was thinking. Demopoulos tried to get some more output going at the start of the second, but still seemed to be struggling with Fry's pressure. As she started to slow down, though, the round got a little bit closer. Demopoulos started to land some heavier shots. After a close round, it was kind of tough, really, to tell what was happening on the cards. And this happened, I mean, of course, a couple more times throughout the night. It could have been tied. Fry could have been up 2 rounds. It really could have gone either way at that point. Demopoulos didn't want to take any chances in the third, ran straight at Fry, lit her up with some huge combos, pinned her against the fence. I mean, honestly, it was really like watching a brand new fighter. That's what it seemed like. It was seriously, I mean, she was awake. She was awake after that, that's for sure. Also, didn't help that Fry blew her nose in the middle of those 2 rounds, and her eye, of course, you know, if you get hit a lot, especially with the orbital bone, I believe that's what ends up causing the swelling a lot if that's broken or compromised in any kind of way. So yeah, it started to swell up, and she started to see double, actually, Jinyu Fry. So that definitely didn't help. But yeah, what was I going to say here? As the round closed, Demopoulos pinned Fry against the fence and really took that round on the cards. So to me, seemed like a pretty clear 29-28. Could have gone either way, though. Which way did I have it? I can't remember. I didn't really I didn't really write down what I thought. It was pretty close, though. I mean, like I said, could have maybe gone with with Fry in the first 2 rounds, but it really could have gone either way on that, and I was fine with either person winning, but I will say one judge did score at 30-27, and I definitely did not agree with that at all. For Demopoulos, I should say, definitely did not agree with that. I mean, really couldn't have gone 30-27 either way, I don't think. I don't know. I don't know. But whatever. And Demopoulos did run ahead with that split decision. And like I said, either person could have won that one. That was fine with me. It made sense this time. And I will say, actually, yeah, I think there were other split decisions on this one, and they all kind of made sense. I don't remember. I mean, we'll go through the whole card, but I don't remember off the top of my head thinking any of the decisions were weird here. I remember being fairly okay with everything that happened. The second fight, Mario Bautista, Brian Kelleher. I gotta say, I kind of thought Kelleher was gonna take it this time. I really did. I even put him down as one of my underdogs to put a bit of money on. Wow. I definitely underestimated Batista. And of course, like I said, I do watch a lot of tape. So I was prepared. And I mean, I think he shocked everybody with what happened here. Batista wasted no time, jumped in, hit Kelleher with a clean shot. He used that momentum to throw up some more quick combos from there. But he actually ended up dragging Kelleher down to the ground, which is where we thought Kelleher wanted to be in the first place, which is again why this was so surprising because we thought, oh, Kelleher definitely going to be going for this submission. Thought he had an advantage on the ground for sure. I wasn't the only one that thought that. I guarantee you that was all over the place. Um, Batista hit him with a couple of big shots, snuck that arm under the chin, and made him tap right away. And that was it. That was it for Brian Kelleher. And that was not the only first round finish. There were quite a few here. The next one ended up being Cody Durden and JP Bays, another first round TKO. Durden grabbed the first moment of the fight, hit Bays with a huge hook, and Bays found himself along the fence, avoiding Durden's onslaught. He went in for a desperate takedown, but it was too late. Durden knew that Bays was stunned, so he blitzed him from there, dropped him to the ground, and just let loose the ground and pound for about 20 seconds straight. I mean, the ref could have definitely stopped it maybe a little bit earlier than that, but yeah, not even close. Just amazing, really, performance by Durden, and that's kind of what he needed because both of them hadn't really necessarily been doing that well recently. So good for Durden to get a dominant win like that, especially since, I mean, the odds were dead even on this, but JP Bay is not really performing well at all in any of his UFC performances. So Durden kind of needed to do something like that to even stay in the UFC. So good for him that he did that. And by the way, I also did pick him to win, so also a little bit happy because of that. One that I did talk about last time, a prelim that I did talk about, Haulian Paiva and Sergey Morozov. I had Morozov by decision going into this because he just seemed better all around. Plus Paiva, he was at flyweight before. I mean, he was at bantamweight, but what was I saying here? Oh yeah, of course. This was a bantamweight, right? I think. I think. Yeah. Yeah, no. I was saying that Paiva, he was fighting at flyweight before, a little maybe struggle. Well, he struggled to get down to flyweight, but he's not really a bantamweight. He's a little too small. So I was saying that size advantage for Morozov was going to help him in that decision and get the win that way. And that's pretty much exactly what he ended up doing here. Less than a minute in, and Morozov was in big trouble, though, I will say. He got hit with a huge shot and was immediately wobbled, shot in for the takedown. Couldn't quite drag him down, and Paiva was kind of lighting him up with some pretty good combos there. So I was a little bit worried. Excuse me. And Paiva did continue that for the rest of the round, but Morozov did land some shots of his own, showed that Paiva, showing Paiva that he wasn't quite out of the fight just yet. Avoid trying to avoid those strikes in the second round, though. Morozov finally did try to move that fight to the ground. After a huge miss from Paiva, Morozov finally managed to do that, got Paiva to the canvas, started to get some work going. And really, I mean, Paiva did manage to get back up, but a lot of a lot of control time there for Morozov. I mean, I think it was over 3 minutes, so you know, it made sense to give Morozov that round. So to me, it was a pretty clear 1-1 at that point. Morozov opened up the final round with some combos and another great takedown there. He couldn't quite keep him down, but he did get some control time along the fence, which is exactly what you need on the cards there. From there, it was pretty dead even, really. Both of them were shooting for some takedowns, landing some combos. But to me, I gave the final round to Morozov because he seemed to be a little more active and he did get a bit of extra control time. So I gave it to him, and all the judges agreed 29-28 for Morozov there. The next one, another decision. It was Norden-Becky and TJ Brown. Brown going into this was a fairly big favorite. I mean, he was about minus 210 or so. But still fairly close. But I knew Norden-Becky was gonna I did pick Brown for the win, but I did think that it was going to be a lot closer than the odds suggested there, and that Norden-Becky did have a very good chance. He was explosive early, hit Brown with some bombs, and after some wild exchanges where Norden-Becky definitely did land the better shots, Brown dragged the fight to the ground. He did have a couple of decent submission attempts going, but then Norden-Becky flipped it and actually sunk in a pretty deep leg lock of his own there. After bringing the fight back to the feet, trying to avoid that leg lock, of course, Brown started to land some heavier shots. And in response to that, Norden-Becky actually moved the fight to the ground again, where he finished the round on top. I mean, it was a wild back and forth round, but I kind of gave it to Norden-Becky on that one. He just did a little bit more. Yeah, he just did a little bit more there. Looking to avoid the heavy strikes of Brown. I mean, clear strategy here for Norden-Becky. Went in for the takedown to open the second round. Did control for a couple of minutes there, but Brown did actually reverse the position and took his back. From there, he worked hard for submissions, but Norden-Becky once again finished the round on top. I mean, it was tough. It was another tough round to score. There were a lot of tough rounds actually on this card that were a lot of tough rounds to score, I should say, on this card. But where did I have it here? Yeah, I said that Brown, he was in control for more of the round, so I had it tied 1-1 in that one too. They both opened the final round with some wild striking, but it was Norden-Becky who stole that momentum back, took the fight to the ground once again, controlled him, chipped at him with some ground and pound, and with a minute left, Brown did reverse him and pushed hard for a finish, but couldn't quite get it done. I mean, really, the judges could have gone either way with it, but I did kind of go with Norden-Becky on this one, and the judges did agree. They all scored it 29-28 for Norden-Becky. The second prelim that I was going to talk about, and it was that I talked about last time, and it was the featured prelim of the night. That was Tefon Nchukwi and Carlos Ulberg. Wow. Oh, wow. I had Nchukwi going into this by finish because, I mean, seriously, in the tape especially, it was actually kind of shocking to watch because Ulberg just constantly fights with his chin up, literally like this, like with his hands down, chin up like this, fights like that constantly. So I thought, my God, with the pressure of Nchukwi, this is not going to last long. I mean, he's just going to destroy Ulberg. He's going to hit that chin, fall down, and then that's going to be it. I really thought that was going to happen, but I had it completely backwards on this one. They did take it slow at first, but the fight exploded. I mean, Ulberg landed a flawless hook to the chin of Nchukwi, wobbled Nchukwi, and he just ran in for the finish. And that was it. That was it for Ulberg. I mean, good for him. I mean, I knew he was a good striker going into this, but I just figured, especially with that defense, that it was going to be a problem. And I mean, we know that Nchukwi can take a punch. So, yeah, definitely caught me by surprise there. I really did. I mean, not saying Ulberg couldn't finish the fight, but I definitely did not think it was going to be that early. That is for sure. So he looked very, very good. We also don't really know if he ended up fixing the defense at all because we never really saw Nchukwi throw too much. So we'll still watch out for that in the future, but definitely, I would say much improved for sure because he definitely looked better this time than he did in the other fights. So good for him. And it's not that I don't like him. I will say I do like him as a fighter and as a person too. But going into this, I definitely thought he was going to get finished. My apologies to him. The main card now. It opened up with Chris Curtis and Rodolfo Vieira. I had Curtis by finish going into this, and I think a lot of people kind of saw that. I was going to say he was the underdog, but he wasn't the underdog. He was just a slight favorite. I remember it being about minus 120. It was somewhere around there, I'm pretty sure. So it was pretty close on the odds, but I definitely thought that he had the edge there just because we knew that he could grapple. I mean, you should know that he could grapple if you've been paying attention at all. Plus, we knew that his striking for sure, for sure was going to be way better than anything Vieira had. So we definitely thought we were going to see a finish here for sure. Took a while for the action to start, but Vieira did open it up with a takedown. Surprise, surprise. Interestingly, it was actually Curtis that found himself in the dominant position. Of course, maybe Vieira, pulling guard possibly to even just get the ground game going. I don't know. That could have been the spot, maybe. But that led Vieira and Curtis to stand back up. So maybe it wasn't all that on purpose, and he definitely did not want to have Curtis on top of him. That's what it seemed like. I don't know. With some work in the clinch and a couple of heavy shots landed, Vieira took the opening round on my card. But Curtis came in heavy in the second round with his striking. Vieira did quickly shut that down, though, with pinning him along the fence. Then the fight turned into an all-out brawl. Both of them went wild with the striking in the middle of the octagon. I don't know why Vieira decided to do that, because as we kind of expected, that is when Curtis started to pull ahead on the cards there. And close the gap on the cards in my mind for sure. I mean, 1-1 tied easily. And just like in his last matchup, it was pretty clear that Vieira was getting very, very tired. And maybe that's why he didn't go on the ground. That could be. But I mean, when you're facing a striker and you're tired and you're on your feet, that's not really a good position to be in. So, as expected, Curtis did start to really get that going. And in the last round, I think it was the last round. Yes, it was. He did try to go for some lazy takedowns, Vieira, but I mean, Curtis has cardio all day. So, I mean, you're going to have to do better than that to land a takedown. That's for sure. He shut those down pretty easily, kept it on the feet. And he wasn't really necessarily landing a lot of shots, but he was landing a lot of ones to the body. And I mean, the ones that he were landing, the jabs that he was landing, I should say, the jabs and everything really doing well, straight to the nose of Vieta. Wasn't really able to block much of those. So pretty clear 29-28 decision for me. And he did say he was trying real hard for that finish. And I could tell he was going for the finish, but a pretty easy dominant decision win there. I mean, like, there was no doubt he was going to be winning when the cards were being read. That is for sure. And yeah, great fight for Chris Curtis. Another one, I should say. After that, it was wow. Umar Nurmagomedov and Nate Maness. Like pretty much everybody else, I would say I was going with a finish for Umar. I mean, just obviously the difference on the ground. Yeah, definitely thought we were going to see a submission finish there. The fight was a little slow to start with a couple of strikes from both guys. Sadly for Manis, he made a mistake clinching up with Umar. I don't know why you would think of doing that. Even if you thought that you could maybe compete with Umar, why bother doing that when you know you have probably the advantage on the feet? Even though Umar is very good on the feet, by the way. Don't don't make that mistake. That's for sure. What was I going to say here? Yeah, found himself on the bottom only 2 minutes into the fight because of that clinch. And as expected, Umar kept that position for the entire round. And, you know, Manis is good. He's good. He is very good. And he did shut down all the submission attempts clearly, because we did end up making it to a decision here. But yeah, I mean, there's just a whole other level to Umar that and really pretty much anybody in the division just can't compete with it. He's just way too good on the ground. Way too good for that. So obviously first round on the cards for him. And second round, wasted absolutely no time whatsoever. Less than a minute in, and he was already in the same spot. Really trying to go for those submissions. Smothered him for the entire round, really. But Manis did barely squeak through the round without getting finished there. But it was getting touch and go for a bit there in the second. And in the third, Manis finally landed a nice shot, but Umar returned and actually slammed two head kicks in a row straight to the face of Manis. My God, what an animal. I mean, his kicks are just so insane. And I said that in the lead up too. I mean, you got to watch out for those kicks. It's crazy to see. And then with 3 minutes left in the fight, Umar took it down to the ground again. And that was, there goes Manis's chances of winning there. And to really explain how dominant this was, by the way, Manis literally only landed one significant strike throughout the entire fight. I mean, what else can you say to that? Just a dominant performance, obviously, from Umar, and the judges scored it 30-27, 30-26, and actually a 30-25 on there. Personally, I probably would have scored it a 30-26 myself, because the other two rounds, weren't crazy dominant. Although I guess, like I just said, he literally did only land one significant strike. So I mean, what can you do about that? I mean, I guess, you could definitely score at 30-25. Like Umar did say in his interview, he is one of the best in the division and really could potentially grab a title shot within the next few fights if he continues doing what he's doing. And I really do believe that, don't get it wrong. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that pumps up all these Russian fighters, like, oh, they're the best. Like, Umar's the best. He's the champ. Islam is the best. He's the champ. No, I'm not that kind of person at all. But I mean, when you see stuff like this, you can't not talk about how dominant that was. I mean, and Manis, again, very, very good. But I mean, you can't not talk about how dominant that was, and have to imagine that he would keep doing that to other people as well, especially considering, I mean, bantamweights are amazing. It's clearly the best division, but also very clearly a lot of strikers. Like, there's only him, Umar, and then Merab, really, that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, I could be wrong, but those are the only two that I can think of that even have a wrestling dominant game, and that's it. And I mean, I just don't see how any of them can defend that. I really don't. So I mean, what I'm thinking is, what's next? I really could see him beating any most of the people in the top 10. So anybody up there um would be next. Somebody like Font would be probably the obvious way to go, because Font is kind of going a little bit down. Umar obviously on the way up, still undefeated. But I mean, even if he skipped his way up a little bit, someone like Sandhagen or Merab, I do think that they have some fights lined up. I think I saw that somewhere, so maybe not, but those would make sense. But seriously, oh, like actually, yeah, I even wrote it down here. Most of the top 10 does have matchups within the next couple of months. So we'll see how all that turns out. Um, yeah, we'll be seeing how it turns out, and I'm sure I know we'll be talking about Umar in the future, and where he'll be going next with it. But I mean, yeah, he's a problem for literally anybody. And actually, yeah, actually, I just realized that there is another wrestler. He's not fighting right now, but he is coming back, and that's Henry Cejudo. So, and that's exactly why he is so dominant down there, because he is a dominant wrestler. So, what would actually be interesting eventually, I don't know if this will ever happen. I mean, who knows how long Cejudo is going to stay around, even if he does win the belt. How long is he going to stay around to defend it? I don't know. But I do think that the toughest matchup for him, for sure, would be Umar, because of that wrestling heavy thing, where they're actually probably, I mean, I'm definitely not saying that Umar has the edge in the wrestling. That would be insane to say, considering Cejudo is that's how he's done everything. But I would say it's pretty even. It would be very, very interesting to see how that would work out, and I would very much like to see that. I would love to see that. So yeah, that would be something cool in the future to see too. But anyway, enough about wrestlers. The next one, Thiago Moises, Christos Giagos. Actually, we had a submission here, so I guess we're still talking about wrestlers. I had Moises by decision going into this, because I mean, Giagos, very, very good, actually. And, Moises also very, very good. But I definitely didn't, I thought he was just going to win a dominant decision. That's how I saw this. That's how I thought this one was going to go. That's what I thought. Giagos actually landed a big one early, but that came as Moises shot in for a takedown. Moises didn't quite get it to the ground right away, but still had Giagos pinned along the fence. From there, Moises moved around, took the back of Giagos, riding him like a backpack. I mean, I love it. You love to see when fighters can do that. I mean, it's crazy to watch. It doesn't even seem real at that point. It's like, could you imagine seeing that in person? I mean, that would be absolutely insane. And it took about a minute or so of maneuvering, but eventually Moises got his arm under the chin and made him tap with an amazing, incredible first round submission win. So I gave him the bonus for submission of the night. And if you look on Twitter or Instagram at that bonus, I posted the picture of him actually doing it, and it's crazy to watch. One of the best pictures I've ever seen, actually, of a submission to put on the bonus there. I loved it. I loved that picture so much. Crazy. Good for Thiago Moises. And to me, I mean, he just slipped out of the top 15. There's absolutely no reason why he wouldn't get a chance to go back in there, especially after what he just did like this. I mean, again, Giagos is still pretty good. Don't let that performance fool you. So I was actually thinking somebody like Hooker or somebody like Ferreira would make the most sense. Instead, he actually did mention Joe Selecki. I don't know why. A bit of an unusual call out to me, but you know what? That's obviously going to be an incredible fight. So I would love to see that, and that would definitely be on the main card, maybe even the co-main of pretty much any card except for a pay-per-view, of course. But that could even be on the main card of a pay-per-view for sure. Just amazing fight. That would be fantastic to see. Then we had the heavyweights. And originally, I even said this. I don't know why this is on the main card. And I still stand by that a little bit. But my God, was it an entertaining fight. I had Parisian by finish going into this because of his extra power and his extra toughness. Because Bordeaux, I mean, he gets hit once and he kind of shuts down. That's what I noticed a lot in the tapes. So that's why I went with Parisian on this one. But of course, we knew that Bordeaux was going to be faster, and that's exactly what we saw right away. Clearly the quicker fighter, but Parisian was the one who landed early. After some back and forth striking, it was actually Bordeaux who landed the first big punch, dropped Parisian to the canvas, and he really actually did have a chance for a quick finish, but Parisian shut it down by dragging Bordeaux on top of him. Unusual strategy, but it kept the fight going. Amazingly, after getting mangled, I mean, good God, he was getting destroyed on the ground there by Hammer Fist. Excuse me. Parisian got up, pinned Bordeaux along the fence, and for about 20 seconds straight let loose some heavy punches, trying to get the ref to stop the fight. Sadly, ref didn't stop it, and the fight went on to the second round. Parisian did keep that momentum going, though, took Bordeaux to the ground and hammered him with even more ground and pound. And after a couple minutes of massive ground and pound from Parisian, really threatening the finish. Unbelievably, Bordeaux actually did get back up. From there, though, Parisian dragged Bordeaux back down and kept the ground and pound going until finally the ref did decide to stop it there. My God, what a fight, though. Seriously. And yeah, that really could have ended either way, which is exactly what I said going into it. I mean, you've got two heavyweights who, oh yeah, Parisian did have one win, I think, or possibly even two. But I mean, they were both kind of looking like maybe they're gonna get cut soon. They really were not looking that good. So I mean, this really could have gone either way, especially considering they're both strikers. Knockout could have happened at any moment for either side. So yeah, maybe it did deserve to be on the main card. I mean, it was insane to watch. So yeah, I think that actually ended up even getting a bonus, but we'll go into that after. Then of course we had the co-main, Shavkat Rakhmonov, obviously the huge favorite going into this, but I really thought that Magny I really thought that Magny was going to last until the final bell here, because he is, I think they were definitely everybody was kind of underestimating Magny. I don't know why. I mean, he's been around forever. He always gives a tough fight, and he almost always makes it to the final bell, no matter how bad it may be going. So I was going Rakhmonov by decision on this one. Magny got the action going first. Sadly, that was a mistake. Rakhmonov grabbed a kick, grabbed one of Magny's kicks, I should say, and took the dominant position right away on top of Magny. And from there, just started to smother him with the wrestling, smoked him with some heavy ground and pound. I mean, he's just so good. Magny was doing a decent job of defending, but Rakhmonov was in clear control the whole time. Shavkat continued that in the second round, hit Magny with a crisp combo, pinned him along the fence, dragged him back down to the ground, and just like the opening round, Shavkat completely dominated the fight on the ground. And with 3 seconds left in the round, looked like we were going to get to the next round. Just fully locked in a deep submission, and Magny had no choice but to tap. And Rakhmonov, of course, extended his winning streak to 16-0 with 16 finishes. That's right. All finishes in all of his fights. I mean, that's insane. that's that's just insane. Yeah, like nobody I honestly don't even think I've ever seen anybody with that kind of streak. Definitely not continuing into the UFC and definitely not continuing it against ranked opponents. The only person that I can think of that did that would be Chimaev, but he didn't do it 16 times. He did it, what is it now, 12 or 13. So pretty close, pretty close. But of course, Chimaev did it way more dominantly. But anyway, we're not trying to compare the two, even though they are in the same division and they also have done the same thing. I do think that that is definitely a fight that will happen eventually. And that'll be very interesting, but we're not going to talk about that this time. Shavkat also predicted that he would have a title shot within the next couple years. And why wouldn't you? I mean, seriously, especially considering the welterweights, not necessarily the strongest division. I mean, at the top, pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, obviously, you've got Usman, very good. Covington, annoyingly good. Burns, pretty good. Chimaev, incredible. And then, of course, you've got Rakhmonov. But I mean, honestly, there really isn't anybody else that even comes close to breaking into that top five. There really just isn't. But anyway, so what was I gonna say here like that? Yeah, I have no doubt that he will get a title shot pretty quickly, I would say, especially if he keeps doing stuff like that. It's the same thing as Chimaev. He'll get a title shot soon, too. I mean, really, why wouldn't you? Sean Brady still needs a matchup. So that could be something that would be interesting, especially considering Sean Brady also undefeated and also a wrestler. I mean, Shavkat way more well-rounded for sure, but that would also be very, very interesting to see how that turns out. Instead, he called out Wonder Boy, which is a little bit interesting, but I gotta say that's obviously, to me at least, I mean, especially if you're paying attention, that would be the easy way out because it's pretty clear that Wonder Boy has been struggling with grappling. So, I mean, I mean, Shavkat is probably the second best grappler, maybe the third best grappler in the division. So, seems like a little bit of an easy out to me, but it would still be interesting. I mean, you know, it'd be fun to watch. I mean, actually, I don't know. I don't know if that would be fun to watch because we all like seeing Wonder Boy strike and Wonder Boy fight, and I don't really want to see him get Russell fucked once again because that's what's been happening. And I don't think anybody really wants to see that. So instead, personally, if he wants to make a statement, I think he should really take on somebody like Luke or somebody like Burns. That would be a statement. If you want to make a serious statement, that would be the way to do it, which is exactly what Chimaev did. He took on Burns. What bigger statement could you make than having that fight against Burns like he did? That's really what Rakhmonov needs to do too. That's what I think. Luke or Burns. That's what I think. But if he wants to take the easy win against Wonder Boy and destroy every Wonder Boy's, you know, uh, all of his fans' dreams, that would be a move too. I would be crushed, but that's probably what's going to end up happening. We'll see. We'll see. Then we had the main event, and this is going to be a long one to talk about because it was just insane, absolutely insane to watch. I've genuinely never seen a fight like that. One of the most unique fights I have ever seen, for real. I had Tsarukyan by finish going into this. I really did. Not that I thought Gamrot was bad, just because I thought Tsarukyan was just that good. And of course, with his extra power in the stand-up, I definitely thought that was going to be a problem. And that's how he was going to get it done. That's what I thought going into it. The fight opened up with a wild grappling exchange. Both of them just swapping dominant positions all over the place. Seriously insane to watch. Like I said, never really seen anything like it. You don't normally see that, that's for sure. They went back to striking, but Tsarukyan made the first big move of the fight, dragged Gamrot to the canvas, And with some of the best scrambling I've ever seen, though, like I said, Gamrot actually regained control and moved back to his feet. The rest of the round was pretty tight, but Tsarukyan was the one controlling the action with huge kicks and takedown attempts and taking the opening round on my cards. And we kind of figured that was going to happen because Tsarukyan does start off strong. So kind of made sense that he was going to win the opening few rounds. And that is what happened, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. The second round opened with some striking from both sides. Gamrot was doing better this round on the feet, but Arman was still, I mean, those kicks to the body, good God, some of the strongest kicks I have ever seen. I mean, it was something to see. It really was. Tsarukyan tried to throw out a couple more takedowns, but Gamrot shut all that down. Kind of a waste of energy, in my opinion. Once again, another razor thin round, but I mean, those body kicks, my God. Tsarukyan, I would say, clearly 2 rounds up because of that, because it was really the only thing that stood out for either guy, because it was so close. Other than that, it really was. So I think it was pretty clearly 2-0 right there. Keeping the same strategy in the third round, Tsarukyan opened up with some more massive kicks to the body. Finally, after 2 rounds of trying to catch up, Gamrot stumbled Arman with a crisp combo and actually took him down there. He didn't stay down for long, but Gamrot maintained that control along the fence and even threatened a submission for a few seconds there. Tsarukyan did get out of it because he's just that good. And both of them actually moved back to, well, the striking after that, of course. He landed some more crisp combos, even a spinning back kick. My God. I mean, Tsarukyan, just unbelievable striking. He really is. But I will say I had to give that third round to Gamrot because, I mean, threatened the submission and landed the couple of combos, took him down to the canvas there. So, I would say Gamrot. Oh, wow. Another typo. Terrible. But yeah, I would have said 2-1 for Tsarukyan at that point. Thanks to the pressure, though, Gamrot managed to take him down. This time doing some pretty good work, actually. Clearly, Tsarukyan starting to slow down, and that was becoming a problem because Gamrot, relentless cardio. I mean, we didn't see this before in the UFC because he's never been in a 5-round fight in the UFC, but did it in KSW multiple times. And clearly that helped him in this because his cardio was just out of control, seriously. Especially since Tsarukyan, he wasn't slowing down a whole lot, but just enough to be noticeable to the point where Gamrot could take advantage of it. And that's really what started to happen here. Tsarukyan opened up oh yeah. And I would say definitely 2-2 after that, because almost actually grabbed a submission there. Gamrot did. So I definitely a 2-2 at that point. So even going into the last round, stealing the momentum, Gamrot took Arman down and pinned him. Oh yeah, I should say Tsarukyan did open it up, stumbled Gamrot actually, but then Gamrot stole that momentum back, pinned him against the fence. They both got back up, went back into the stand-up. And just like the other rounds, wow, another typo here. Horrible. This round could have gone either way. Gamrot notched a couple takedowns, like I said, but Tsarukyan did stumble him a couple of times. So, I mean, personally, I had the final round going for Tsarukyan. I really did. The judges did not go that way, but I really thought it could have gone either way with that. But I kind of expected the judges actually to give it to Tsarukyan because we found out recently that one of the reasons why the scoring has been a little bit weird to outside people is that the judges have been doing it by damage. And to me, Tsarukyan clearly did the more damage in the final round. And that's been emphasized heavily lately, especially last week, that is how the judges were going to be going forward. They would be judging it primarily based on damage. So personally, I thought Tsarukyan did by far the more well, not by far the more damage, but definitely did more damage in the final round. So that's why I had it as Tsarukyan 48-47. But like I said, really could have seen it going either way. And I was not mad at all that Gamrot did win by a decision there. They all went with 48-47 for Gamrot. Like I said, oh, actually, yeah, there we go. Now I know. There were no decisions on this card that I was like, what the hell is going on here? Nah, it was all pretty reasonable this week, just like last week, actually. I think I remember saying. So to me, judging has actually been okay. I mean, the scorers a little bit iffy here and there, but I would say nothing's been like a complete robbery for at least 2 weeks now. Before that, questionable, but we've been fine the last couple of weeks. And really, neither guy lost anything in this fight. I mean, seriously, to me, it's actually more clear than it was before that both of these guys will be in the top 5 at some point. I don't think I would have said that before. I would have said that Tsarukyan guaranteed to be top 5 at some point. Gamrot, I wasn't sure about, but you know what? After that, both of them clearly deserve to be in the top 5 at some point. I guarantee it's going to happen, especially since Tsarukyan he's what, like 29, 28 or something like that. I don't know. He, he's under 30 and he literally just put on one of, an absolutely insane performance in a main event, and he's just going to keep getting better. So, I mean, that's insane. That is insane to see. And really the only problem he had was the cardio. That's it. I mean, he beat Gamrot in the first half. And like I said, I thought he even won the final round there to win. So, I mean, he's just going to keep getting better. It's just insane to see. And they actually even said that they're going to probably end up keep training together. So they're both just going to keep getting better. And we have a comment here. Thoughts on Gregor Gillespie? That is a very random question, considering he's not fighting anytime soon. I'm not sure if I have too many thoughts on Gregor Gillespie because he hasn't fought in so long. I think he's good. I definitely think he's really good. I'd love to see him again sometime soon. I actually, do you know why he hasn't been fighting? Because personally, I don't actually know. I've heard there's some things going on, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. But I do like him though. I do like him. He's very good. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with him. He is still in the rankings, I believe. So hopefully we'll be seeing him soon. I don't know. Don't know what to say. But anyway, that's that. Oh yeah, right. And Gamrot was saying he wants to fight Gaethje next. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, V. He is ranked 10th, I think. Yeah, I believe that is pretty accurate. 10th or 11th. He was higher before, but then of course because of the inactivity, they kind of dropped him down a little bit. But yeah, I think he is still ranked 10th or 11th, somewhere in there. But so you mean even with Gillespie in there? Yeah, you know what? That would be very interesting. Maybe Tsarukyan and Gillespie. That would be something. I actually never even thought of him. I really didn't. But yeah, Gamrot and Gaethje that's kind of an insane call out for me. I don't know why you would call out Justin Gaethje, but that's exactly what Gamrot did. And I mean, who would turn that down? That's going to be insane. I really, really hope that they get that going. That could easily main event a card, but it's probably going to end up being on a pay-per-view. That just seems to be what they're doing with Gaethje. So that's kind of what I'm seeing happening. But whatever happens with any of these guys, they're all really good. And Gillespie too, of course. Very good. And then the bonuses. So my KO of the night was Josh Parisian. I mean, coming back like that, insane. So I had to give him a bonus. Sub of the night, Thiago Moises. I already said that. Amazing, like crazy. I love to see it when they get a submission like that from behind. A standing one too, I guess technically. Brawl of the night. I mean, really, how could you go with anything other than the main event? Tsarukyan and Gamrot. That's where the way I went with that. And then the most valuable fighter, Shavkat Rakhmonov, because to do what he's doing and to do that to somebody like Neil Magny, very impressive. I mean, there's no other words to describe that. Just insanely impressive. So yeah, I mean, that's something special right there. So you gotta acknowledge that he is definitely a special, unique, talented fighter. So I gave him the extra bonus there. Before we take our break, we will go to the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. I was looking at the why that looks so weird. Anyway, so yeah, we'll go with the Ultimate Fighter to close this out before we take a small break and talk about the pay-per-view. Very interesting episode. This was the first semifinal. We had the heavyweights. That was Jordan Heiderman and Zach Pauga. Both of them Team Pena, because Team Pena's team is just killing it. And honestly, I think they should have had a couple more that got through, but whatever. We're here. We're sitting here anyway. At the start of the season, Pauga beat Niall Bartling. That's how that won, in a very dominant decision, I should say. And Jordan Heiderman, a little bit of a questionable win, because Chandler Cole, that was where Chandler Cole, I would say pretty clearly, and I think a lot of, even Dana White and the coaches kind of agreed, it was a little bit weird that they went to a third round, considering Cole did win the first two fairly clearly, it seemed like. So a little bit weird. And then yeah, and then Heiderman came back in the final round to win it by a TKO. So I mean, sucks for Chandler Cole, and I'm sure we'll see him again, as I've said before. But yeah, so that's what happened previously with those two. So yeah, they found themselves in an interesting situation, of course. So what do you do with that, with training? I mean, you're at the Apex Center. What do you do? And you're training as a team still, Team Pena. So what do you do? Apparently, on her own season of The Ultimate Fighter, Pena had the exact same situation. And what they decided to do was train at the same time, just on opposite sides of the gym. And that is exactly what they did. Plus, for the first time ever, actually, what they did is they did not want to corner either fighter on this. That just wouldn't be fair. And I totally understand that. And I'm surprised that this was actually the first time that this was done on The Ultimate Fighter, but they actually called in their coaches outside of the show. So their original coaches from before. And of course after too. But yeah, so then they called those guys in to corner the fighters for the fight, which is a fantastic move. And Dana White himself was actually surprised that that had never been done before, because it's a very, very smart move. So Pena removed herself from the situation completely here. And yeah, just sat at the desk with Dana and Forrest for this one. And that is what a true coach would have done. Very good plan there. But before the fight happened, they had the first coaches challenge, which was an axe throwing competition, to the dismay of Juliana Pena, that's for sure. Well, I don't know if she's never picked up an axe. I'm sure if she's picked up an axe at some point, but never done the throwing there. And Nunes, very much confident. Why is there two dots above my name? Very good question. That's just the way I like it, because technically it's still pronounced blue. I was trying to be unique by putting the dots up there, but very good question. It is still pronounced a blue beard, though. But a good question, good question. I love seeing questions. I should also put that back up there, because I do like to acknowledge people that ask questions, because we love participation and we don't get it very often. So thank you for the question. But yeah, so first coaches challenge, Nunes, very much confident in the axe throwing. Where did we have it here? How did it go here? Both women started off slow. Was 3-2 for Nunes. Then Nunes looked like she was going to kind of run away with it. She had a 7-2 lead. But then on her last throw in the second round, Juliana Pena managed to get a bullseye, tie it at 7. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me, actually. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for the support. I mean, yeah, what else can I say? But thank you. And yeah, I hope you stick around and participate some more. Again, I always love that kind of thing. This is an interactive show, even though, again, I don't normally get to interact with people. I love any kind of questions you got, whether it's fighting related or me specifically, but hopefully keep it towards the fighting, of course, because that is the kind of show we got here. But anyway, so Juliana Pena tied it up at 7 with the axes, and I'm lost in my notes here. There we go. Then Nunes really started to pull away with a score of 15, and Pena really couldn't catch up from there. She ended up winning 18-10 in the axes, winning her team some money, Amanda Nunes, for the first Coaches Challenge win. And we won't talk about the other fun stuff that happened. There was a couple other things. It was Pauga's birthday on the show. That was pretty neat. Got a cake and a cool song from the ladies in the house. That must have been pretty cool. So then we'll move on to the fight. Pauga did grab the momentum early, picked Heiderman apart pretty early with those jabs. I mean, Pauga, seriously, for me, I think probably the best looking heavyweight on the show. Am I Irish or German? Neither, actually. I will obviously put the question up there. I am actually part Dutch. My mom is Dutch, and kind of like a Scottish background, but mostly also actually just heavily Canadian background. I think my family's been in Canada for I think it's been over 100 years now. So also Canadian, I guess. Very Canadian. Moving back to the fight. Thank you always for the questions. What were we going? Oh yeah, the striking. Unfortunately for him though, oh yeah, wait, I missed a line here. Heiderman did get a clinch going along the fence, but Pauga got out of it and went back to the striking. And easy first round win for Pauga there. I mean, no question about it. Definitely won that opening round. Pauga kept that going into the second round, landed a lot of bombs early, dropped Heiderman, and just a couple of punches later, that was it. And Pauga claimed the first spot in the grand finale on one of the future cards. I actually don't think they've announced which card they're going to do it on. I could be wrong. They might have named it, but I don't think that they named when this is actually going to be happening. I'm sure it'll be sometime. Well, let's see. We've got 3 episodes left. Maybe the end of July. Maybe the start of August. That's what I'm guessing here. I'm an American with German ancestry traveling to Berlin next month to explore. That is very cool. I've actually been to Berlin, and it was amazing. I gotta say, genuinely one of the nicest, cleanest places I have ever been to. I loved Berlin. I've only been there for, I think it was just a couple days though, but it was great. Dutch is an awesome. It is. I'm very proud to be part Dutch. I love Dutch people. Great food, great people. They're actually honestly like the European versions of Canadians, to be honest. That's how I see it. I really do. They're very, very similar. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so that's what we'll be seeing. That is the first addition to the live finals. Zach Pauga. And sorry to cut you off here, but we are going to take a short break, only a minute long, though. Don't worry about it. And we'll be coming back to talk about the pay-per-views. But yes, just a quick break to have a little bit of water, maybe go to the bathroom, just a minute long, and we will be right back. I will see you after this.
Allow me to introduce High Stick Vodka, a new way to celebrate victory. Gather around the glass with an award-winning, ultra-premium Canadian-made vodka. You probably won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka has a smooth, hard-hitting taste, or that it's developed in the birthplace of hockey. You won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka is a tribute to the game of hockey, or when I tell you it's distilled 4 times using Canada's purest mountain spring water to provide an authentic, remarkable flavor. But maybe you will listen when I say it comes in a f***ing hockey stick. Showcase your passion for hockey with our limited edition hand-blown hockey stick bottle. Whether you're celebrating victory or drinking to defeat, High Stick Vodka is better after every shot. Visit us at highstickvodka.com. It also comes in this regular bottle. Celebrate victory. Drink responsibly.
And welcome back. I had a nice sip of water. And yeah, I remind you of Brandon Moreno. Thank you. I love Brandon Moreno. I really do. I mean, how could you not? The guy loves Lego and he destroys people. How could you not like Brandon Moreno? And if you want to donate, I will never turn that down. But I also very much appreciate a follow or a sub, whether that's on Twitter or YouTube or Twitch or Instagram, whatever. That too, that would be amazing too. I just want to, really grow the fan base so that we can do more of this, especially have more conversations and stuff like that too. That would be lovely. And I do post my my bonuses and all that on Twitter, and that gets more exposure for the fighters and stuff too. So I love that kind of stuff too. Any participation or anything is very much appreciated. But yeah, we will start with the pay-per-view now. We'll go through the main card and then, of course, a couple of prelims as well. So the card opens up. Actually, it was supposed to be Miesha Tate, and Lauren Murphy on the main card. Instead, I believe, Murphy got COVID, sadly, so she is not on they're not on the card anymore. Instead, the UFC put up Robbie Lawler and Brian Barberena on the main card. How exciting is that? I mean, I am seriously, I'm not even kidding. I am so excited for this card. I really am. Every single fight on this card to me looks absolutely incredible. Seriously, every single one of them. And I am very much looking forward to each and every one of them. So who am I going with on this one? What do we have here? Robbie Lawler, obviously former champ. Last fight, which Diaz? Nick Diaz. He was fighting Nick Diaz. And honestly, I mean, yes, Nick Diaz, not necessarily... he didn't really look that good. I hate to say it. I love Nick Diaz, but not really looking that good. Robbie Lawler, though, looked like Robbie Lawler. Amazing. Looked absolutely amazing. I will add an Instagram. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. My dog's Instagram is also down there if you like huskies. He is a very, very cute doggy. But anyway... as for Barberena, of course, fought Brown in the last one. Insane fight. So pretty even. I will say, actually, most of the fights on this card are very, very even. But I'm going with Lawler on this one. I really am. They're both really scrappy. They both love an all-out brawl, and that is exactly what this is going to be. I can assure you that. But based on what I've seen recently, I would say that Lawler does have that edge. Yes, he does have the experience, but that aside, I mean, he's the more precise striker, and he's got that unbelievable cardio. This fight's going to be insane, but I do think that Lawler is going to edge ahead. And I will throw up the banner here. If you go down, you can get an instant sign-up bonus for Bet99. That is where we do all of the odds. So I will go over to the odds on Bet99. Right now, it sits at -117 for Lawler and -106 for Barberena. So like I said, it is dead even pretty much. But yeah, Lawler at -117 especially with all that experience. And he looked so good in the last one. I got to imagine that he's going to take it, and it's definitely worth it. I mean, minus 117, come on. The over under right now is at minus 217 for over 2.5, and under 2.5 is plus 166. I mean, I agree with the odds on that one. I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing a decision here. So that would be the way to go on this one. Oh, you added me on Instagram. Thank you. Thank you very much. You will be seeing, oh, you know what? I just added the monthly bonuses, the June 2022 bonuses. If you want to check that out, see what I thought, maybe you can even leave your favorite performances. I love nobody's ever done that yet. Nobody's ever given their own opinions on the bonuses yet. So if you want to leave your opinions, who's got the best KO, the best sub, the best fight of the month, whatever bonus it is, I would love to hear what you've got to say. Add your comment on Instagram. I would love to hear it. Anyway, back to the predictions. Next one after that, we've got Pedro Munoz and Sean O'Malley. I can't even say how excited I am for this. I love Sugar Sean. He is, if not my favorite fighter, he is my second favorite fighter. I love that kind of stuff. I love the showmanship. I love him outside of the octagon. He's entertaining. And I mean, seriously, one of the best strikers I have ever seen. Like, if you actually just look at his striking, just showmanship and all that aside, if you look at how clean his striking is, and the movement, it's honestly unbelievable. So, of course, I'm going with O'Malley on this. And no, it's not biased. Again, I always watch tape before. So I watched a lot of tape, as always, before this. But I'm still going with Sugar on this one. Munoz is also a very good striker. And he's got a lot of kicks, which he'll obviously need to be using, stop the movement of Sugar there, or at least slow him down. That being said, I mean, Sugar's his striking is just unbelievable. He's so fast too, and it's these weird feints and movements that he's got. It's just crazy to watch, especially since Munoz gets hit a lot, and he actually gets knocked down a decent amount too. So considering how well that Sugar does, I mean, he's knocked down every single person he's ever fought in the UFC, and he's knocked out quite a few of them too. So, I mean, I think he's really just going to keep doing the exact same thing here. Munoz has never been finished in his UFC career. And I gotta say, maybe it's insane to say this, but I really, really do think that Sugar's going to somehow finish him. I really do, because with Munoz getting hit that much and getting dropped in his other fights, he's also got a reach disadvantage here. Plus, he's the slower guy, like Sugar's faster. He's got better striking. He's got more power. He's got the reach. I don't think this is looking good for Munoz on this one. I got to say, Volkanovski's going to destroy Holloway. Oh, buddy. That is an opinion. I will say, though, I actually kind of agree with you. I'm not going to say it's one-sided, but I do think that Volkanovski definitely is the favorite here for sure. And we'll be talking about that in a little bit after we, of course, talk about Strickland. But yeah, I very much agree with you on this one. What was I going to say here? Oh, yeah, the odds, of course. Minus 300 for O'Malley. Munoz plus 233. This is one of the ones that I will be throwing in a parlay later. Of course, we always talk about the parlays at the end, but minus 300 for O'Malley, that's a parlay for me for sure. The over-under is at minus 128 for over 2.5. Obviously, they're seeing that, Munoz never been finished before. So that kind of makes sense. But I will say, with all of the advantages that O'Malley has, and considering how much he's really dominated every single person he's fought. I mean, I really do think that it's even, might as well throw a couple of bucks on the under 2.5 in this case, which is at plus 100 right now. That's where I'm going with it. After that, a very interesting matchup. I mean, I don't really think anybody really knows how this next one is going to go. It's Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira. Of course, Pereira, world champion kickboxer, even beat Adesanya twice. Sean Strickland, I would say definitely more of a striker, uses his crisp, technical, I would say basic, and I don't mean basic striking in a bad way. It's just, jabs. He uses a lot of straight jabs and a lot of clean front, just clean strikes. That's it. He doesn't do anything wild by any means. So he's, just a basic striker. That's it. A lot on the line for both. Oh, yeah. Banger of a fight. Hell yeah. Whoops. I should have been talking while I did that. Silly me. Anyway, but yeah, I totally agree with you. It is going to be a very interesting fight, though. But I will say what I think is going to happen. Strickland hasn't really been using his grappling all that much, but he can grapple. I saw it. I can't remember which fight it was. I wrote it down here, and I will check out where it was here. No, I don't think I wrote it down. But in one of the fights that I was watching of his, he did take somebody down and he controlled them pretty well. Plus, I will remind you, he trains with Marvin Vettori, who is probably the best wrestler in that division that I can think of in the middleweight division. I'm trying to think of anybody that's better, and I can't really think of anybody except for maybe Brunson is close. But yeah, so he trains with Vettori. So you got to imagine that he's just thinking going into this, well, yes, I can probably do okay on the feet with Pereira, but the smart way to go is to grapple with him, because Pereira, not saying he can't grapple, I'm sure he's been practicing it quite a bit. But when you've got Vettori on your side helping you out, I would say that's probably the way to go. So I really think that there's going to be a decent amount of grappling from Strickland. And that is why I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win by decision. I think it's going to be close. I'm sure Pereira is going to land some crazy shots in there. That's going to stumble Strickland quite a bit. But I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to land his jabs in there and then grapple with him. Clinch work along the fence, maybe take him down, probably take him down. And that is how he's going to win. But it is going to be so close. And like I said, there are so many close matchups on this card. And in the odds, dead even, really. Minus 109 for Strickland. Pereira, minus 113. Yeah, going with Strickland for sure on this one. But really, you could go either way on this one. You'd be justified in doing it either way, because yes, Strickland probably does have a grappling advantage. Actually, he definitely does. But Pereira, of course, has that one punch knockout power, or even a knee knockout power, or even a kick, anything. He's got all of that. So who knows what's going to happen with that one. But that is my little tip, my little inside tip on that one, is that he does train with Vettori, so he's got the grappling. He's got the grappling there, and I'm sure that's what he's been working on. Over under on this, very interesting. Over under 1.5 rounds, minus 186 for over, and the under is plus 145. I'm going with the over on this one, minus 186, because like I said, Strickland's a tough guy, and I really don't think Strickland's going to get a finish. So, yeah, I just think that at the very least, this is going to be going into the third round. I would imagine we're going to be seeing a decision, though. So minus 186, very much worth that gamble for sure. Then we have the co-main, which is what we were just talking about. Of course, Volkanovski-Holloway. I mean, we've seen it twice already, and it's been different both times. And I do think that it's going to be very different this time as well. But actually, I really don't know which way this. I mean, I definitely have Volkanovski for sure. That is definitely the way I'm leaning on this 100%. But the first time, Volkanovski won with the leg kicks, very clearly, dominantly won, I thought, because I did rewatch this. I want to make that clear. I'm not just saying it, based on what I saw when it originally happened. I'm saying this based on what I saw literally 2 days ago. I rewatched it. Volkanovski clearly won the first fight. Those leg kicks, insane. And that is definitely how he won that one. The second fight, that didn't work quite as well because Holloway changed his stance quite a bit. Instead, Holloway was definitely the one winning in the stand up. And then Volkanovski won it with his grappling and his wrestling, barely winning the decision. And I would say Volkanovski did win that. It was close. It was very, very close. But I would say that Volkanovski did win the second fight as well. I will say at the time, I was a huge Holloway fan, and I wasn't necessarily well versed in how everything was scored. So I had Holloway the first time I watched it. But now that I watched it again, knowing a lot more about MMA and just everything in general, I did kind of pick Volkanovski on that one. But anyway, so that's how the first two went. And honestly, I would say that Volkanovski has gotten better since then. I really do. Did you see what he did to the Korean Zombie? Exactly. And that is exactly what I was about to just say. Whoopsie daisy. I was going to click there. That is exactly what I was just about to say. That Volkanovski, in my mind anyway, I mean, maybe it's just because he hasn't been fighting people who are as good as Holloway. I mean, not that Ortega's bad or Korean Zombie's bad or anything, but he's just shown that I think he's gotten just so much better. He is, to me, so much better than he was when he fought Holloway the first or the second time. So to me, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get a finish. I'm not sure if I'll go that far, but I was even kind of thinking that. I was like, you know what? His striking has been so, so good recently that I would not be surprised if Holloway, at the very least, gets knocked down. That he gets knocked down for the first time, I believe, in his UFC career. I'm pretty sure from what I've heard, because he's never been knocked down. I think this could very much be the first time that Holloway gets knocked down. There's not many UFC matches where it was hard to watch. Yeah, you know what? I 100% agree. I will put that up there. And Volkanovski said it himself. He felt bad. He did. He felt bad for beating him like that bad, and he kind of wanted the fight to stop. And I totally agree. I mean, you don't want to see the Zombie get beat up like that. But I totally agree. Yeah, it was looking bad. It was tough to watch, but it was also pretty cool to watch because Volkanovski's incredible. But yeah, that was rough. And yeah, I do agree. He is kind of, well, I don't know if I'd call him a gatekeeper so much as Volkanovski's just that good, you know? Like Ortega is just that good, Rodriguez is just that good, Holloway is just that good, Volkanovski's just that good. Whereas, Korean Zombie's like just below that. Just below that. He is very good though. I think he's too good for like the bottom half of the top 15, but not good enough for the top half. That's kind of what I think. And I'm not sure I would call that a gatekeeper per se. That to me means like ranked 10 to 15th, and you're kind of shutting down people outside of the top 15. But yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm not sure if Volkanovski gets the finish here, but I will say, like I said, I do think that he might be able to knock down Holloway for the first time ever. But the way that I think this is going to go is he realized how good the wrestling works against Holloway, that is how he's going to do it. He's going to go, I don't know if he's going to do it straight away, probably not, but I do think he's going to go with a grappling heavy strategy this time and win that way. Because if you saw the Yair fight, because I rewatched it again, of course, and Rodriguez himself actually even had some success along the fence in the grappling. So if he can succeed against Holloway like that, Volkanovski is just going to take it to that other level. And that is why I think he's going to win pretty dominantly this time. Bad weight cut? All the videos of Max, he seems really tired and out of it. Did you notice that? I haven't actually seen any videos of that yet, but that is an interesting take here. I'll throw that up, of course. That is very interesting. Honestly, like I said, I did not see that, but could be, could be, could be a bad weight cut. I don't know. Either way, I mean, and that really just even goes more to what I was saying, because if that is the case, he's going to struggle even more. He's going to struggle even more with that grappling. You know, I mean, cardio is never going to be an issue for Holloway, but if he starts getting into the grappling, that could definitely be a problem. The odds -193 for Volkanovski, +154 for Holloway. I think that's pretty fair. I'm still questioning whether I would want to put that into too many parlays, Volkanovski, but that is the clear way to go with this for sure, especially if you think about the grappling side of it, which I really, really do think. Bro, just watch of him signing the UFC posters and on the channel. Yeah, send it to me. Yeah. That's interesting. I see. I do look at things like that sometimes, but I try to keep that to a minimum when I make my decisions. But yeah, I do think about that sometimes. I did not see it this time. But yeah, that's where I'm going with this. I really, really think that he's going to be into the grappling pretty heavy this time. The over under, of course, heavily favoring the decision. I mean, we've seen 2 decisions with these guys already. Makes a lot of sense. -267 for over 4.5, +200 for under. I'm still going with the over on this. I really do think that this is going to reach a decision, but more so than the other 2 fights, I could see a finish happening here. More so than the other ones. But remember the stat that they brought up when Emmett and Cater were fighting. Only one of the top 10 featherweights has been finished in the past couple years, and that was the Korean Zombie. So you got to consider that too. I mean, you know, you don't want to base everything on that, but it is an interesting fact to keep in mind that these featherweights are probably, you know, the toughest of any other division to finish, just because they're all so good and so skilled. So I don't know. I'm still going with the over 4.5 on this one. Then we close out the night with Izzy Adesanya and Jared Cannonier. This is another one to me for a parlay. Not that I don't think Cannonier doesn't have any chance whatsoever, but you gotta think Adesanya, I mean, easily one of the best strikers we've ever seen. So, I mean, that would be the way to go with it because of that. Yeah. Oh, okay. I will definitely check after if I remember. I will probably have dinner first, but after that, I will definitely check it out. What was I going to say here? Let's see. Obviously, Cannonier does have the power to make a difference, but you know, he was dropped. He got knocked down by Brunson. If you're getting knocked down by Brunson, that's not a good way to start when you're when you're fighting one of the best strikers in the UFC. So that's already not a good omen right there. And he was dropped really bad by Whitaker. He also struggled with Whitaker's speed and movement. And who else has insane movement? That would be Izzy. So you hate Brunson. That's funny. I'm honestly not really a Brunson fan either, to be honest. I don't know what it is about him. I'm not a huge fan. Not that I hate him. I'm just, maybe it's his style. I don't know what it is. I'm not a huge Brunson fan either. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I hate him, but he's not one of my favorite people to watch. That is for sure. Where were we here? So yeah, I mean, like I said, considering Cannonier was dropped by Brunson and just destroyed by Whitaker, I can't see this going that well. I don't know how long he's going to last. And you know what? Izzy took it very easy the last couple of fights. Love you too. I'll throw that up there. Thank you. Thank you. I love everybody, but especially you because you're also commenting and contributing, and I love that. But anyway, if Adesanya decides to take this easy, we're probably going to see another boring kind of decision. That's kind of what we saw with Whitaker, and he could very easily do that again. But if he fights to how he should be fighting, like what he did with Costa, what he did with who was somebody else that he did that to? If he goes on that kind of level where it's just like, nah, I'm going for a finish today, we're gonna see a finish. That's what we're gonna see. But if he takes it easy, we're gonna see a decision. So it really could go either way on this. I would probably stay away from the over under, or maybe could have put a couple bucks on the under. The odds right now minus 434 for Adesanya. Clearly a parlay opportunity. Cannonier plus 320. Over under is at 4.5 right now. So they're thinking it's going to be a decision. Minus 123 for over. I would say the value, if you're going to go based on value plus what Adesanya can do, definitely go with the under because it's at minus 105 right now for 4.5 rounds. I mean, with the skill and the power that he has, I don't think it's going to last that long. I really don't. So I would go with the minus 105, the under 4.5 on this one personally. Interesting take. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's just got his stand up is just so much better. In terms of value, it really does make more sense to go with the under 4.5. I'm not saying break the bank on it, but couple bucks here and there. Yeah. Now we'll talk about a couple of prelims. I like it, TBH. Thank you. There are a couple of prelims that I'd like to talk about. I always talk about a couple of prelims before I close out the show and have dinner. And yeah, we've got 4 of them I want to talk about. A little more than normal. Normally I only go with 2, maybe 3 matchups. But this card is so good. Seriously, to me, the best looking card of the entire year so far. Every single matchup is good. So I will talk about 4 of them. And I believe, no, I was going to say they were all ranked, but they're not. The first one, Brad Tavares, Dricus du Plessis. Really could go either way on this. And I have a feeling that you're going to probably disagree where I'm going with this, but it is so close. A lot of people are going with du Plessis on this one. I'm not so sure. About this one. I'm really not. Tavares, where is he ranked? He's ranked 12th right now. Du Plessis only had 2 fights here. Not that necessarily makes a difference. Tavares has done pretty well. He beat Jotko and Akhmedov and lost to the champ and Shabazian. Okay. Du Plessis, only 2 appearances so far, but did get 2 TKO wins. This really could go either way. But Tavares, he's got the experience, but he's also pretty big, pretty quick, pretty tough, and he's got great striking with a little bit of grappling thrown in. Du Plessis has a lot of power and he has a very good kicks. The main difference, though, is that Dricus struggled a lot when his opponents pressured him. That's what I noticed in the tape. And he actually, I'm not going to hold this against him too much, even though he did get 2 finishes. I will say both of them happened the exact same way. He caught both of them with something that they didn't even see. Like they were kind of like, I don't even know how to say it, but they just got dropped like real quick by something that they didn't even see. And then the ref stopped it immediately. Like he didn't even really have to follow up on it. So it was kind of like, even just slightly early on the stoppages, it was kind of weird. And it happened on both of them. So I was kind of like, well, that's interesting. And I don't think that would happen with Tavares. So that's the way I kind of see it. And yeah, Dricus has the power. He can easily do, he could do the same thing again, But to me, I just think Tavares more well-rounded, tougher than his last opponents by quite a bit, and he's got the experience. I think we see him win by decision. I mean, I obviously don't think he's going to get a finish, but I do see a decision win for Tavares on this one. And if you go towards the odds, where are they? They're very close. Plus 112 for Tavares. Duplessis is at minus 138 right now. Like I said, I'm going with the underdog plus 112, but it's so close that if you see it the other way, for sure, go with Duplessis on this one. I'm just giving my opinion on this one. And honestly, like I said, this is one of those matchups really could go either way. It is so close. The over-under on this, 2.5 rounds, dead even really at minus 116 for the over, minus 112 for the under 2.5. Man, that's a tough one. Because if Tavares wins, you're seeing a decision. If Duplessis wins, it's probably a finish. So, man, that is a tough one. Personally, I'm going with the over because I'm seeing a decision. But again, if you think Duplessis is going to win, then you're probably going with the under. I mean, I don't even know what to give for advice on this way. It's so close. Thank you. You know, I am definitely throwing that up there. That means a lot. That seriously means everything to me. I really do try and put everything I can into these analysis that I give, because it means everything. It means, people are spending money on this. I'm spending money on this, because I bet too. So I'm not into losing money. I want people to win. I want to win. So I'm going to put everything I have into picking the best pick. And, I usually do pretty well. My average is about 65-70% in my picks. So I do pretty well, but not perfect. So I do get some wrong. And yes, the fight footage, I think that is key. So many people make the mistake of not watching it, and they just look at their record. They look at who they fought and make their picks based on that, which I used to do too. But then I noticed, you know what? That's not the whole story. That is not the whole story, because a lot of fights are how they fight, how are their styles going to match up. That is what makes fights. As they always say, styles make fights. So you gotta watch the footage. That's what I've learned. Anyway, so I'm seeing Tavares by decision, but so close. I mean, really, pretty much every matchup on this card could go either way depending on the night. It really could. Then we've got the ladies, Jessica Ai and Macy Barber. My God, people are they're leaning so far towards Barber on this one. I gotta say, I also am leaning slightly, very slightly towards Barber, but these odds are not doing Jessica Ai justice whatsoever. They're really not. I ranked 12th right now. Barber ranked 14th. Whatever. Oh yeah. After her title loss, because of course she lost by that brutal head kick to Valentina. I make my my picks on the ladies by their legs. Honestly, you're not the only one. There are a lot of people that do that, which is hilarious because that doesn't even make any sense. But it happens a lot. It really does happen a lot. Have I done that before? I will not divulge that information, but not in this case. I will not say I did not do that in this case, and I don't do that anymore. But Barber was undefeated, of course, we know that, and then lost to Modafferi and Grasso, and then that absolute garbage split decision win over Miranda Maverick. What happened in that one? I have no fucking clue what they were thinking there. Whatever. But yeah, this is another dead even one. Both of them do have a very clear chance of winning, like I said. I mean, don't let those odds fool you, and I will get to the odds in a second, of course, but Both of them really have a real shot here winning. The only thing that has me leaning towards Macy Barber on this one is because of her size and because of the last fight that she had. I mean, she's one of the biggest, strongest women in the division, and that's pretty clear. I mean, you just have to look at her and be like, okay, yeah, she's clearly bigger than most of the people here, except for, of course, who is that other one that just fought? Was it JJ? No, yeah, JJ Aldrich. JJ Aldrich. She's huge. That would definitely be the biggest. Barber is probably the close second. But anyway, the way that she shut down Montana's wrestling in the last one, that convinces me that she's probably going to win this. Ai has good striking, but gets hit a lot and isn't really one of the best grapplers. So I think that Barber is going to use the grappling and her heavy striking, because she does have a lot of power, to then win the decision. And I mean, we're probably going to see a decision because that's just the way that most women's fights end. So yeah, that's what I'm going with it. I think Barber is going to push her against the fence, bulldozer like that. A lot of clinch strikes, a lot of strikes in general. And I would say that that is what's going to happen. A very close decision. I do think this is going to be close. That is how I see that one going. And if you look at the odds, whoopsie daisy, I clicked on a random button there. Minus 260 for Barber. So like I said, a little one-sided, unwarranted, I would say, for sure. Especially since, remember, Jessica Ai just fought Valentina like a few fights ago. Yeah, but I'm still going with Barber. I don't know if I'm confident enough to throw it in a parlay, but definitely confident enough to make that as my pick. The over-under on this, obviously favoring the decision, of course, minus 286 for over 2.5. That would definitely be the way to go for that one. Two more to go. We've got, of course I had to talk about it, Cowboy, Donald Cerrone, and Jim Miller. You gotta love this one. The two most active fighters in the UFC, plus the two guys with the most wins in the UFC. How about that? I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy that we're going to see this. I don't even know how many wins they have between them, but it's staggering. I mean, that's crazy. Obviously, though, Jim Miller has been more successful recently. He's gone 3-3 in his last 6. Cowboy, not so much. 0-5, and then one draw, actually. It was not a no contest. So obviously, on the outside, a lot of people are going for Miller here. And it really could go either way. I'm not saying this is one-sided by any means, but I will say, I mean, if you watch the tape, this is why I watch the tape, because the odds on this are garbage in my mind. It's just terrible the way we'll get into the odds, of course, after. But I mean, to me, Cowboy really does seem like the clear pick here. And I don't know why we're not going with that. Why is it not closer at least? I mean, I'm not saying he should be the favorite necessarily, but make the odds closer. My God, he fights at 170 and he kills himself to get down to lightweight. I mean, it's crazy. You need to get a pack of smokes and walk my dog. You'll leave this running BRB. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. I really hope you do stop by again. I do this every Wednesday, starting at 4 p.m. Pacific, and then we go until about 5:30 or 6. I'm almost done right now, of course. But yeah, thank you so much for popping in and contributing. I would love to hear from you again and see you again in the stream. So enjoy your pack of smokes and walking your dog. 100%. Thank you so much. I love to hear that. So yeah, next Wednesday, hopefully I will see you here. Anyway, back to the cowboy of it all. I really do think, I mean, he kills himself to get down to 155. Really did not ever want to even do a 155 cut again because it's so hard. So he's got the size advantage. He's fighting way better people. Yes, he's 0-5, but he is fighting way better people. He fought Nico Price, Alex Morono, Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor. I mean, these guys are insane. And Pettis, and he was doing it almost all of it at welterweight. So, and here Miller is. I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong, Miller's good, but he's fighting people that are brand new to the UFC. It was their first UFC fights. That was his last 2 wins, and lost a decent amount before that. So, I mean, and then you look at them fight, and Cowboy's got the kicks. He's more active, he's got more power, he's got more skill, he's got the grappling too, and that is what a lot of people forget about. Cowboy has very good grappling. He really does, and he doesn't necessarily get to use it all the time because he loves a good brawl, but he's very, very good at the grappling. And Miller just isn't quite as well-rounded like that. So, I mean, Cowboy, he's got the size advantage. He's got, I would say, the skill advantage. Definitely, well, I don't know about, well, I mean, they are both the most experienced in the UFC, but Cowboy's been fighting the much better competition. So to me, it's a clear choice for Cowboy Cerrone here, by decision, of course, because I don't think either one of these guys is going to get a finish here. But I do think that we're going to see a hard-fought decision win for Cowboy to finally break this losing streak. I mean, we don't want to see Cowboy lose like this consistently. It's so sad because he's got almost now the most wins in the UFC. Miller did take his spot, but Cowboy's close there. Yeah, we don't want to see Cowboy continuously losing like that. But yeah, anyway, that aside, I'm losing it because I'm getting really hungry. Miller is at minus 209 right now, and Cowboys at plus 166. This is a clear choice for my underdog. I mean, this is definitely the underdog of the week for me. Cowboy plus 166. Size advantage, skill. I mean, everything. I would say he's got the slightest bit of an advantage. It's going to be close, but it's going to be good. And the over under, fascinating on this. I don't even know why it's like this, but over under 1.5. These betting lines are insane. What is happening? Minus 148 for over 1.5. Under is plus 114. Both of these guys are insanely tough and also not known for finishes recently. So this is just bananas. Seriously, I don't understand why this is at 1.5, over under 1.5. So I mean, a lot of really good. I mean, this betting line is, like I said, insane. I've got the underdog at Cowboy at plus 166 and the over 1.5 minus 148. Yeah, I'm feeling good about this one. I'm feeling good about it. I mean, kind of. It's still going to be close. So don't put a whole lot of money on this, but definitely put a little bit. The last one I'm going to talk about, Brad Riddell, Jalen Turner. Another dead even one, of course, completely even, really could go either way. But I'm saying that by the slightest margin, I've got Riddell on this one. I really do. What have we got here? Where are my notes? Oh yeah, Riddell. I mean, he barely lost. He was close. He was close to winning against Fiziev. Of course, he did end up getting finished. But still, he's huge. Huge. In the last fight against Fiziev, I was like, oh, how is he making 155? Yeah. Oh, you got to love Riddell. I mean, did you see his back in his last fight? Good God. He looked massive in that fight. And yeah, Turner's also pretty big. He's very tall for the division. He's definitely got the reach in this one. But Riddell, he's so skilled. He's got insane striking skills. And he was doing really well against Fiziev, like I said. And I think Fiziev, easily one of the best strikers in the division. Definitely one of the most technical ones, for sure. And Riddell did very well against that. So for me, I just don't know if Turner can get up to that level of striking. I don't know. I don't know if he can. Where are we here? Obviously, I always go towards my notes because I don't want to. He's Swedish. Oh man. He is from he's from City Kickboxing too, which is another reason why I'm going with him on this one. What was I going to say here? Riddell. Yeah, he's also very quick, but he's not quick in a traditional sense. He's quick because he uses very straight shots, just right down the middle. Jabs, straight shots, straight punches, right down the middle. Doesn't waste any energy. Very, very quick like that. Whereas Turner, not necessarily like that, which is going to be a problem because if you fight somebody that's only using really straight strikes like that, it's hard. It's hard to come back against that unless you're also very technical, which is what Fiziev did. But like I said, I just don't know if Turner can do that. That being said, Turner does have the kicks and he does have the length. So, I don't know. Yeah, they're both really close. I don't know what else to say here. What else did I have to say here? Oh, and then of course the City Kickboxing link. I don't normally, it will be close. Yes. I don't normally go too much into like, oh, this person, you're not betting that fight. Well, maybe I can change your mind. No, I don't know. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. But I will say, this is probably, I think this is clearly going to be a stand-up strike or a stand-up battle. But you got to remember that Riddell is training with Adesanya. Like it's not like he's not used to fighting people with that length and that power because he's training with Adesanya. You got to remember that. And he definitely would have been training with him for this fight, I'm sure. So you got to remember that. So I don't think New York just legalized this stuff recently. Really? It wasn't legal before? That is insane. I actually did not know that. Really? Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. Wow. I know it's not legal in a couple of other countries, but I didn't know states. Did not know that. That is very interesting. Yeah, dude. Huh. The more you know. The more you know. I did not know that. What was I going to say? Plus, so I think he does have more skill on the feet, Riddell, because of that. And like I said, close fight with Fiziev, who is way better than Turner, I would say. But aside from the striking, Turner has been taken down and controlled fairly easily. So there is that. And that, to me, is what really pushed it over the edge. Riddell, definitely not a grappler, but we also just said how huge he is. He is massive. Like he is way, way stronger for sure than Turner is going to be. So to me, what I think is going to happen is, yes, I do think, the striking very, very even, but then Riddell is going to start using clinches, maybe even take him down to the ground, and he's going to control him, I would say, fairly easily, especially in that clinch. So that is what makes a difference for me. It's very, very close, but that right there is the slight edge that pushes it into Riddell by decision for me. And if you go towards the odds, where is it here? Plus 120 for Riddell, minus 148 for Turner. Very, very close, as always. Just like the rest of this card, I'm going with Riddell, plus 120. And just in general, as a betting tip, if it's really, really close, if you think it's dead even, always go with the underdog because there's just more value there. Because you're probably going to win 50% of the time, and you just get more money for betting the underdog. That's just a quick betting tip right there. Just so you know. So yeah, if it's dead even in your mind, usually go with the underdog. But in this case, I really do think that Riddell has the tiniest bit of an edge anyway, because you got to remember he is the one that's ranked here too, not Turner. The over-under on this one, over-under 2.5, plus 130 for over 2.5. Very interesting. I would probably go that way, but I don't know. They could be a finish either way. No, I would still go with the decision though. I'm still fairly confident about that because they're both very, very tough. The under 2.5 minus 167, that is definitely not worth it. So if you really wanted one of the two, the over is for sure the way to go on that one. And before we close up, because that is it for me now, I will quickly look through the odds here for some parlays. I already said, I mean, we'll start actually at the top of the card. Adesanya, throw that in the parlay. O'Malley, for sure in the parlay. Volkanovski, you can throw in the parlay probably as well. You know, I like to make multiple parlays. So I would throw Volkanovski into one of them for sure. Stay away from the Strickland Potato one for sure. Stay away from Riddell. Stay away from Lawler. Stay away from Gary for sure. Good God. I like Ian Gary. I didn't talk about this time, but in that matchup, I still have Ian Gary by the slightest bit. But, people are way too high on this guy. I mean, I don't think he's really done anything that crazy yet. I'd be a little worried actually because Green's pretty good. But anyway, who else here? Muniz, Andre Muniz. I think that's how you say it. Andre Muniz, I think. I'm throwing him in the parlay. Minus 300 right now. Andre Muniz, definitely throwing him in the parlay. I'm not sure. I don't like throwing too many women's fights in parlays because they really are the most unpredictable by far. So I'm not sure if I would want to throw Barber into the parlay at minus 260, but that would be the last one. That would be the last one I would probably throw in there. And that is it for me. It was a long one today, as expected, of course. But that is it for me. Thanks everybody for watching. And of course to V, that's the only name that's on here. Thanks to V for contributing so much today. I love to see that. That's what I want to see all the time. I wish every show was like this. I really do. Clapping and peace. Yes, thank you. Clap for yourself too. Pat yourself on the back for this one because you've made the show much better. Thank you. But yeah, if you want to see any of the other sports, Area 51 is down there. They've got you covered. I'm part of that. Thank you. I will definitely enjoy my dinner. I'm going to be ordering something on Skip the Dishes. Can't wait. I'm hungry. But yeah, I'll finish off the outro first. If you want the instant, the sign up bonus with Bet99, that is also down below. My socials are down below, as V already saw. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. And yeah, next time, we'll be talking about UFC. Well, this one, UFC 276, the latest Ultimate Fighter episode. And then, of course, you're walking your Fox Terrier. That's cool. I don't know if you saw on the Instagram, I have a husky. His name is Loki. Yeah, nice guy. He's a very funny guy, though. His Instagram is also very nice. What's your dog's name? While I look for what the next event is, because I can't remember. Also, it is it Ortega? There's so many on this site, I actually don't know. I think the next one might be Ortega and Rodriguez. I'm not sure, though. I know that Vera and Cruz is the end of the month. London is also near the end of the month, I think. Yep. Oh, here we go. Okay. I found it. It is... Yes, I was right. It was Ortega. His name is Bruiser. Nice. Anyway, so that's it for me now. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks again, of course, to V, who is walking their dog right now. And I will see you next time. I can't wait. Oh my God. Again, I'm so excited for these cards. Stay tuned on Twitter and Insta for those bonuses, of course, where I make my favorite picks. I will see you then. And of course, I didn't have my video lined up. My goodness, I'm out of it. I'm losing it. There it is. Oh, and we've got another comment. Thank you. I will see you next time. See ya.